A 160 pounds catchweight bout at UFC 308 saw Myktybek Orolbai throw down with Mateusz Rebecki. The fight had originally been booked at lightweight, but saw the shift up during Friday's official weigh-ins. That change didn't seem to change either man's performance, with a bloody, grueling and widely entertaining fight ensuing at the second UFC PPV of October. The fight got off to a quick start with Rebecki pressing the pace immediately on his opponent. Orolbai was able to expertly slide out of the way of some of the looping punches coming his direction. Mateusz looked quick with his hands but was tagged with some single counters from Orolbai. Myktybek continued to circle to the right, throwing kicks and jabs. Mateusz began to find a home for his hands in both the body and head of Orolbai. Midway through the round both fighters were continuing to measure the distance, looking patient and waiting for opportunities. Both fighters looked explosive, coiled and ready to strike. There'd be multiple times throughout the round and the fight where the fighters would clash heads while coming in. Rebecki started to see the strikes of Orolbai, sliding out of the way of his teeps and avoiding some of his single punches. With under a minute left in the round, Orolbai had a huge black eye and busted nose but still looked game. To begin the second round, the doctor took an extended look at the now nearly unrecognizable Orolbai. After the doctor's blessing, the fight continued. Mateusz went right at his disfigured opponent's eye, swinging wildly. Orolbai thwarted his opponent with right hands and sharp elbows. Myktybek followed the offense up with a shot attempt, but the two fighters were right back to swinging moments later. In a later exchange, Orolbai missed a strike and in turn, gave up his back. Mateusz looked to get to the back, but in the ensuing scramble both fighters were able to return to their feet. As the round continued, Rebecki continued to find the eye of Myktybek, who somehow had little reaction to the accumulated damage. Orolbai continued to fire off that right hand, patiently waiting for his time to throw. With about 90 seconds left in the round, Myktybek entered on a perfectly timed takedown and was able to drag his opponent to the ground. Once there, Mateusz began leaking blood, caused by a head clash during the takedown attempt, but was able to build his base and return to his feet. Of course, Orolbai was eating vicious shots from his opponent during the entire sequence. In the final minute of the round, the momentum of the fight began to change as it became apparent Myktybek was not taking his foot off the gas. Mateusz started to look a tad fatigued as Orolbai continued to march forward, eating shots on his already compromised eye, but also evading some shots and throwing back hard. To start the final round, both men looked extremely damaged. The octagon was covered in blood and so were both fighters. Myktybek began to find a home for his right hand, but moments later, was sent tumbling to the canvas by a massive left hand from Rebecki. Somehow, Orolbai survived the sequence as the ref elected not to stop the fight in that moment. Rebecki jumped on his opponent and rained down a ton of strikes. The fight undoubtedly could have been stopped at this point, but it was not. Orolbai found a way to survive, again as he was absorbed tons of damage. Then, with about 90 seconds left to go in the fight, Myktybek miraculously reversed position on the ground. Rebecki had practically gassed in the process of trying to finish his opponent. Orolbai landed some damage of his own as Rebecki frantically got back up to his feet. In the final seconds of the fight, Myktybek Orolbai, a man possessed, continued to come forward, willing himself to throw strikes. Mateusz, too tired to return with offense of his own, evaded a few and ate a few as time expired in what was an instant classic. In what was a very competitive fight, Mateusz Rebecki earned the split decision win, while Orolbai looked to be in disbelief.